Good morning, everyone. This is our second meeting of Agricultural Affairs Committee this week. It's just lots happened in the rural area. So welcome to the Agricultural Affairs Committee meeting of Friday, April 15th, 2016. Declarations of interest? Seeing none. Confirmation of minutes from the meeting of March 3rd, 2016 and the 112nd meeting of April 12th, 2016. Carried. Thank you. This is a public meeting to consider the proposed zoning bylaw amendments listed as items 3 to 8 on today's agenda. For the items listed above, only those who make oral submissions today or written submissions before the amendments are adopted may appeal the matter to the Ontario Municipal Board. In addition, the applicant may appeal the matter to the Ontario Municipal Board if Council does not adopt an amendment within 120 days of receipt of the application for zoning and 180 days for an official plan amendment. A comment sheet is available at the door for anyone wishing to submit written comments on these amendments. Item number 1 on the agenda is a status update Agricultural Affairs Committee inquiries and motions for the period ending April 8th, 2016. Is item received? Received. Item number 2, Faulkner Municipal Drain, appointment of engineer. That the Agricultural Affairs Committee recommend that Council appoint Mr. Andy Robinson of Robinson Consultants as the engineer of record to prepare a report under Section 78 of the Drainage Act to inform Council on the drainage works project, if any, that is required to address the proposed establishment of stormwater management facilities that will outlet into the Faulkner Municipal Drain. On the item? Carried. Item number 3. Actually, 3 and 4 are both surplus farm severances. Item number 3, zoning bylaw amendment, part of 3244 Shea Road. The Agricultural Affairs Committee recommend Council approve an amendment to zoning bylaw 2008-250 for part of 3244 Shea Road to prohibit residential uses on retained farmland as detailed in document 2. Carried. Item number 4, zoning bylaw amendment, part of 4740 John Shaw Road. That Agricultural Affairs Committee recommend Council approve an amendment to zoning bylaw 2008-250 for part of 4740 John Shaw Road to prohibit residential uses on the retained farmland as detailed in document 2. On the item? Carried. Item number 5 is official plan and zoning amendments to the floodplain mapping phase 1. Now this item was deferred at from planning committee, so I know we have a motion. Well, so Councillor Drew's motion moves deferral of this item. On deferral? Carried. Thank you very much. Item number 6, zoning bylaw amendment for part of 5883 McCordick Road. That the Agricultural Affairs Committee recommend Council approve an amendment to zoning bylaw 2008-250 for part of 5883 McCordick Road to prohibit residential uses on the retained farmland as detailed in document 2. Again, another surplus farm severances. Sorry for surplus farm severance on that item. Carried. And another one, zoning bylaw amendment, part of 6096 Third Line Road. That Agricultural Affairs Committee recommend Council approve an amendment to zoning bylaw 2008-250 for part of 6096 Third Line Road to prohibit residential uses on the retained farmland as detailed in document 2. Carried. Thank you. Item number 8 is a comprehensive zoning bylaw omnibus motion. And we have a speaker on the item. It's an omnibus motion, a number of amendments in it, but there's one specific one that relates to farmers markets and the ability to have farm stands at expanded areas in the urban area. And we do have a speaker on the item. It's Don Henderson of the Ottawa Farmers Market Association. So Don, if you want to come forward. Just press the button in front of you, then it'll turn the mic on. There you go. And you got 5 minutes.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Councillors, the Ottawa Farmers Market Association was formed in 2006 by a group of local producers who felt the existing downtown markets did not meet their needs. We fully support the provisions related to farmers markets of the comprehensive zoning bylaw 2008-250 omnibus amendments, etc., etc., as this directly enhances our ability to deliver on our mission. The mission of the Ottawa Farmers Market Association is as follows. We provide environments where local farmers, specialty food processors, and artisans can flourish by delivering premium quality, self-produced goods from within the Ottawa region through vibrant community markets. A successful farmers market depends on three factors. The first factor is vendor quality. Our membership is made up of the majority of horticultural as well as other agricultural producers in the Ottawa region, together with juried secondary food processors and artisanal crafters. Visitors to our Westboro market and Lansdowne markets know that they are buying local products of the highest quality represented by the producers themselves. The second dependency is location. A successful market needs at least two of these three attributes to be successful: visibility, parking, and ambiance. Markets such as Carp and Cumberland offer that rural ambulance with ample free parking. Westboro has great visibility together with the park-like ambience. Lansdowne has poor visibility and struggles to convince the local community of its ambience, as well as the availability of low-cost parking. The third dependency is community. A successful market is surrounded by customers who can walk, ride, or drive to the market and embrace it as their own. Such a customer base soon grows through word of mouth to encompass a greater geography. A market whose raison d'etre is something other than to service those customers will never really reach its potential. Should these amendments pass, the Ottawa Farmers Market will establish an Orleans market in the parking lot of the Ray Friel Centre. We previously operated an Orleans market in Central parking lot off St. Joseph Boulevard. This market was ultimately unsuccessful because it missed the mark on two of the three dependencies. The new market excels at two of the dependencies, visibility and parking, and it is our job to create a welcoming atmosphere. We expect this market to be successful and to grow in the future. Our support for these amendments goes beyond the self-interest of the Orleans market. There are a number of communities in our city that do not have easy access to local, fresh, nutritious products that our larger markets supply. These communities deserve access. These amendments expand the potential location for smaller markets and single stands in communities across the Ottawa region. The Ottawa Farmers Market Association mission encompasses such an expansion of access to what we offer at our current markets. Since starting at Lansdowne Park in 2006, we have seen a doubling of the number of horticultural producers in our region, in large part because they have stable locations to market their produce without interference by resellers. New stable market locations will again increase the number of agricultural producers and horticultural producers in particular. Horticulture is also labor intensive, and thus new employment opportunities will be created in the rural parts of Ottawa. Our last point is that studies done by University of Guelph and others have invariably shown that farmers market have a positive economic impact on the communities in which they operate. They show that for every dollar a customer spends at a farmers market, anywhere from $1 to $3 is spent in the general community. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for that. Councillor Ocean, you had a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, sir, for your presentation. Can you just, is every farmers market in the city is part of your organization?
No.
Can you tell me which one is, which one isn't?
The Lansdowne Market is run by the Ottawa Farmers Market Association. Westboro is run by the Ottawa Farmers Market Association. And we hope to open the Orleans Market sometime this summer, should these amendments pass.
Okay. And you mentioned that the Lansdowne, the visibility in it is not the greatest. So can you just, is it the parking issue?
There's visibility. You know, people drive by Bank Street, but they don't necessarily see the market. You know, when we were at Brewer Park, anybody going up and down Bronson Avenue, you know, even if they never knew that there was a market, saw that there was a market, and you know, okay, let's stop by. the Orleans location is ideal on 10th line there. Parking, you know, both the city and OSAG, you know, got a bad rap on the whole parking side of things, and we kind of suffered. There's still a large part of the population think that it costs $20 to drive through those doors in the parking lot, whereas it's only $1.50 for half an hour, and if you're going to the market for an hour and a half, you're not even spending $5. So it's very convenient for a Sunday morning market. There's always ample parking, but getting that message out has been, and overcoming that original prejudice that, you know, because when the market, or not when the market opened, but when Lansdowne opened, you know, it was Red Blacks games and don't come, there's no parking, don't take your car, don't do this. And I think that created an atmosphere of, hey, you know, it's a pain in the butt to go to Lansdowne, even if it's a nice farmer's market. We think that the ambiance is great. It's different than a park-like, it's different than a rural market because it's in the center of the city. But, you know, it's a really nice spot.
Well, that's the first I've heard of this. Obviously, the challenge. I know Bronson was a great location because people see it. I can't see ourselves in the rural area that survive without the farmers market. It's a day where it's almost just like a day to go to the church. You got to go to the farmers market, and a lot of the times people come in just for the drive, for breakfast there, for whatever. But in the end of the day, you're right. It's creating a buzz in our community, those farmers markets. So,
Indeed. I'm the vice president of the Ottawa Farmers Market. I'm also the vice president of the Carp Farmers Market. So I kind of bring both worlds together in the appreciation of the various kinds of farmers markets that deliver. You know, and so the markets that we run and Carp run are the biggest producer-only markets. And that's really important to internalize that, you know, what's sold at our markets is produced in this city or within the 100 kilometers, which is our rules.
thank you very much. And since you're the vice president of Carp, can you do something about the butter tart? Let them last a little longer so we can...
I will speak. Actually, we had a board meeting last night, and we were talking about having a butter tart festival.
Thank you, Councillor Archincheri. Councillor Blais.
Thanks very much. The new market, or the reimagining of the market in Orleans, if I apologize, maybe I missed this, what day of the week are you planning to do?
We're planning on Thursday.
Yeah. And what hours do you think you're going to run?
We haven't quite decided whether to go right through to 7 o'clock or just kind of 11 to 6. We need a little bit more feedback from our vendors on that particular issue. You know, from our members, there was a lot of desire to have it on a Saturday or a Sunday, but you know, number one, Ray Friel can't support that, and number two, you know, it's very close to the Cumberland market, and we didn't want to interfere with its business.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Henderson. Appreciate you taking the time to come out here.
Okay. Thank you.
We do have another speaker on it, on this item, Mel Foster. He just happened to get here, just in time. So, Mel, thanks for coming out. We should have carpooled. We could have taken Uber pool. Sorry. Sorry. So you have 5 minutes, Mel.
Okay. All right. Thanks for letting me speak to it last minute. I didn't hear what the Ottawa Farmers Market said today, but I was at the planning meeting earlier in the week, and they made some very good points. But I thought that as a member of a family farm in the Ottawa area, growing vegetables in the Ottawa area for customers in the Ottawa area. Thought it important to talk to you and tell you from our point of view why it's important for a family farm and even new or young farmers that are starting up in the city of Ottawa. The change in the zoning bylaw to allow farm stands, it does say farmers market on there, in a sense not a true farmers market because of the size of the restraint in the institutional change of the zoning, would help us as farmers and perhaps new farmers getting their foot into the door, being able to sell their product. As Canadians, we're very busy, and we don't go out to the farms like we used to. We don't have the connection to the farms like we used to. Our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, they're not farmers, or they weren't farmers. We can't go and ask our parents or our grandparents, why do you do this on the farm? So it's important that we are able to come into the city, vend our products and sell our products, and make it convenient for our city cousins to pick up fresh produce grown locally and healthy products. We try and interact with them as much as possible. There's a lot of questions about the farm because people just don't understand agriculture anymore. They don't understand seasonality of growing products, and they ask us, well, why don't you have strawberries in October? And a number of questions like this. So I just wanted to come and tell you that it's a great change as far as we're concerned, and I'm sure other farmers would voice the same thing, and wanted to show our support for the change and hope that you'll vote for it. Thank you.
Any questions? So I just want to thank you, Mel, for first not only for taking the time to come down here today, but also really bringing this issue to our attention. While it wasn't the most positive way to get it on the agenda, the reality is that your stand was caught in this sort of gray area. We were trying to make it easy for farmers to bring their food to market, to bring it close to market, to allow residents of Ottawa to buy local food. And it turns out we were stuck in a zoning situation that didn't permit that. And that's what led to this, and I want to thank Carol Ruddy, too, for her work on this, because it helped get it to this point where now we have a situation where you can open your stands in more areas. Other farmers can bring their farm stands to more areas in the city and to bring their food closer to the residents of this city. And there's nothing but positive outcomes from that. And you've been a big part of that, a part of this coming to this point. And I just want to thank you for your work on this and for coming down and supporting the file.
Make one more small point.
Go ahead, Mel.
Thanks. When we had our visit from Ottawa Bylaw, they asked us to pack up and leave, and they were quite flexible, actually. They let us stay till the end of the season, which is I thought they would make us leave right away. We actually started a petition for all the people that came to our stand. So it wasn't, everyone from all over the country or the world. It was people that came to the stand. We asked them, do you support us being here? If so, would you sign this petition? So in approximately a 2-week period, we had over 300 signatures of people that actually stopped at the stand. So we weren't going out to the corner and waving people in. These are people that were coming to the stand and stopping there. After the season was over, we started an online petition, and that petition, there was lots of other people other than people local, but we had over 400 signatures on there. So in total, over 700 signatures in support of us being there. So I think that what you're doing as city employees, as councillors, as people of the City of Ottawa is overwhelmingly accepted by the general population. Yes, there might be one or two or a very small number that may be against it. And that's why city bylaw came. There was someone that had called, and I did talk to bylaw and asked them how many complaints. And at that time, they told me on the phone there was one complaint. So we've had, over 300 people at the stand saying they're in support of it, and one person complaining. So, this is a democracy, and I'm glad that it's working its way through, and it's going to be a positive thing. Thank you.
Thank you again. Appreciate it. All right, so as I said, this is, while it is kind of just stuck in here in this omnibus amendment, it is a very important issue that deserves the attention that it's getting from the two delegations today. It's a good step forward. One of the guiding principles of the city it's one of the key principles of how this term, one of our term council priorities is food and agriculture, and making sure that our residents have easy access to good quality local food is very important, especially as rural councillors. And very happy to have this before us today. Again, thanks you to Carol Ruddy for your work on this, and appreciate the support that this got at Planning Committee, and hopefully we'll get the same support here and through Council. So on the item, Carrie, thank you very much. So that is it for our regular agenda. We do have an open mic session. We have one speaker on the open mic session. It's Mr. Mike Baggett, also from North Gore. All right, Mike, that's on. It's on. You get the presentation set up, so you get 5 minutes. But if you take,
that's fine.
I'll be lenient.
I plan to be short and to the point. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come here. As Councillor Moffat says, my name is Mike Baggett. I'm a resident of North Gore, and I'm here representing Ottawa Wind Concerns, which is a group of local Ottawans who are concerned that we do green energy in a smart, sensible, cost-effective, safe manner. And the purpose of my presentation today is to ask for a motion before Council that would go to the provincial government. And the essence is to reinstate local planning use back where it belongs with municipalities instead of with the provincial government. So that's what this 3 or 4 minutes is about. Without more ado, Ottawa is an absolutely unique area. I may be preaching to the choir, you may already know this. Though Ottawa is not the largest municipality in Ontario, it is in actual fact 4th by square kilometres. It is the largest municipality in terms of the combination of square kilometres and population. So you can see there in the chart at the top that while we're 4th with 2,790 square kilometres, we have a huge population. And if you actually look at the 4 rural wards, 5, 19, 20 and 21, they comprise 84% of the total land area of Ottawa and 14% of the population. And the density of population in the rural areas is actually far higher than anywhere else in Ontario. Okay? Ottawa is absolutely unique, okay? And the need for Ottawa to be able to control its own local planning is critical. In 2009, the Federation of Municipalities commissioned a study, Sustainable Community Planning in Canada, Status and Best Practices. And this is just a very, very small abstract of just a couple of points. And the recommendations of this report spoke to the need for collaborative planning, specifically democratic participation, better public engagement and participation in decision-making, strong community support. You can see the points there for yourselves. And in actual fact, what happened in 2009 is that some 20 so existing pieces of legislature which allowed for local community planning were actually overridden. Okay, the power was taken out of the local municipalities who understand what's possible, what needs to be done. They were taken away. So the exact opposite of the recommendations actually happened. I think citizens in Ottawa are concerned that we don't have control of what's happening in our own community. We don't decide what happens in things like landfills. We don't decide what happens in what kind of gaming should or should not be allowed within the city limits, and neither can we control where renewable energy projects are sited. It is literally forced upon us. Councillor Moffat was quoted in saying back in 2013 in the Manotick Messenger that, you know, Ottawa has a minimal role in approval. We have no ability to influence and have any substantive influence on what actually happens. I think what citizens are looking for is meaningful ways to control climate change. You know, we absolutely need it, but let's do it right. Okay? And our communities, I think, are in the best position to understand what our needs are, what makes sense economically for us, what resources can we actually put into this, and having this in the power of the provincial government makes little or no sense. So my request is that there would be a formal motion. I believe Councillor Moffat is working on this, to reinstate local land use planning back where it belongs. I will mention that back in 2013 there was a motion, not exactly the same motion, which Council unanimously passed 24-0 and was sent to the provincial government of the time, which was completely and utterly ignored. Not even the courtesy of a response was received by the city. And therefore, if this were to happen, I would request that there is also an action to follow up and not just, you know, send it off and hope, because most likely the same will happen again. Such motions are most effective when they come and are supported by multiple municipalities. It would be great to have this motion from Ottawa. It would be even more powerful if it was supported by up to the 80 or so other rural communities around Ontario. There are ways that a municipality can get municipal support and build kind of a coalition. Staff may or may not be familiar with the best ways to do that. We have some experience and connections, and if staff would like us to, any assistance from us into how to get that proliferated and supported by multiple municipalities, we'd be delighted to do so. Staff doesn't need help, that's fine too. That was the end of my presentation. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baggett. Does there any questions? Councillor Chantieri?
Just a direction to you, Mr. Chair. I've seen you know, there's motion moved in 2013. If you decide to move the motion again, I would like to make sure you copy Roma, the rural municipality of Ontario, because as we heard from the presenter, it's a good place to get some support on this one.
Without question, yes. So we do have a notice of motion to be dealt with at our May meeting that does follow up on the motion that was put forward in 2013 that was passed unanimously. That unfortunately didn't get a response to, but the timing now is similar to what it was then. The Independent Electricity System Operator, IESO, is putting forward a second phase of their large renewable procurement process. So now is a good time to sort of go back and say, well, listen, this is something we're still looking for, something we're still looking to be addressed and hasn't been addressed. So thank you. So we will do that. We'll make sure that's a part of it as well. So thank you again, Mr. Baggett.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your time.
No worries. So we don't have any open mic session, so we'll go straight into the notice of motion, and that notice of motion is what I just mentioned in terms of the ISO portion. It also says, whereas the decisions with respect to where these large renewable energy projects, such as wind farms, are currently located are solely within the jurisdiction of the province of Ontario, and municipalities should have a substantive and meaningful role in siting wind power projects. And whereas municipal governments have responsibility for local planning matters, and siting of wind power projects has local planning implications, and whereas the City of Ottawa believes that decisions with respect to renewable energy projects need to take place within the context of community sustainability within the framework of Ottawa's official plan and with the input of residents, neighbors, and communities. Therefore, be it resolved that Agricultural Affairs Committee asks the City Council, asks the Province of Ontario to make necessary legislative and/or regulatory changes to provide municipalities with substantive, meaningful role in siting wind power projects. So that's just a notice of motion that will come forward at our next committee meeting in May. I have another notice of motion, which will also be dealt with in May. It's regarding the evaluation of land use designations and zoning on specific properties, whereas Schedule A of the official plan currently designates the aforementioned properties. So it's about 6219 Dwyer Hill Road, 6317 Dwyer Hill Road, and then a couple unaddressed properties, Marlborough Concession 7, Part Lot 25, 2 properties in that area. And it's that the bylaw currently includes much of the aforementioned properties in EP2 zone, and whereas the NEA designation and the EP2 zone do not appear to reflect historical land uses or current natural ecosystem boundaries, therefore be it resolved the Agricultural Affairs Committee recommend Council direct planning and growth management staff to review the official plan and zoning bylaw designations for these properties and bring forward for approval any required amendments by Q3 2016. And we'll discuss that more. I know Jen Boy is here working with Nick Stowe as well as the property owners on this, and we'll discuss that more at our May meeting as well. So any other notices of motion? Seeing none. Inquiries? None? Other business? None. On adjournment? Carried. Now we do have quarter revision, which we have to dissolve into quarter revision to deal with the O'Keefe municipal drain. So with that adjourned, for the purpose of hearing appeals under Section 52 of Drainage Act by owners of land assessed for drainage works under the engineer's report for the O'Keefe municipal drain entitled Amendment to the engineer's report for the O'Keefe municipal drain dated December 2015. This court will now convene for the first sitting of the court revision under Section 46 of the Drainage Act. No notices of appeal have been received under the O'Keefe municipal drain. Any owner of lands assessed under the engineer's report who has not provided a written response of appeal to the clerk in advance of this hearing should identify themselves to the clerk's assistant at this time with a request to be heard. The reality is there's only one person assessed in the City of Ottawa. So no one has appealed, so therefore this court adopts the assessment in engineer's report dated December 2015. The decision rendered by this court may be appealed to the Agricultural, Food and Rural Affairs Appeal Tribunal within 21 days of today, April 15th, 2016. Court adjourned.